Evening MHH fam, do you think Denver can trade back and be confident they still land their quarterback? It would be torture to see a turnaround from this team and have the leader of the offense be ineffective. And this is going to be the great argument going into this draft of obviously things don't really get going until you have your quarterback, but you also don't want to reach for a guy just because you have that great need at quarterback. Like you don't want to let other talent pass by just to go get that guy. And I mean, the Broncos, they found themselves in that boat in 2011 when they had the number 2 overall pick. And there were some quarterbacks that went in the top 10 that the Broncos passed on and took Von Miller. Obviously, that worked out pretty good for him. But most likely, Peyton Manning's not walking into the building after you take Von Miller either. So that's kind of the catalyst there is you still found your quarterback just in a different way the next year. So I'm torn on this. I mean, like I said, you still got to go get your quarterback, but you still got to be smart. Like you can't sacrifice the entire rest of the roster just for the quarterback. If you don't have a rest of the roster, your quarterback's not going to work anyway.
Probably not, right? I mean, who knows? But like, because I always think, if you have an absolute superstar like Andrew Luck who came on an absolute trash heap, I mean, eventually he gets broken down and, loses his love of the game, I guess, playing the game. But there are sometimes exceptions. I always get, skeptical of talking in absolutes. The one thing I think about trading back is that they might have, if they trade back from 12, they'll have quarterbacks they like, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they're their guy, quote unquote, because if you have your guy and he's there at 12, you take him. But if there's guys you like, maybe you think like I can make this work in my offense, the cost control aspect, there's still some tangible upside, but I can live without him. That's the question. Like, can I live without this guy? Let's say he goes 1 pick before me. Am I going to regret it forever based on what I know, not right now, not hindsight, but what I know right now? If no, you live with it. That's just the evaluation of it. You can't be, again, too overconfident in your evaluation. But as far as being tortured to see the turnaround of the team, you're going to have another chance next season. If you trade up, the one way you don't have a chance again next season is if you go all in, or let's say even 12 overall, and that quarterback is just, maybe, whatever, but you don't have the pick next year now. That's when you can't really turn it around. But there's not a bad, considering the roster is right now, I don't think kicking the can a season is the worst option. Now, the 2025 quarterback class, I know, doesn't look as good as this one, but you are not if we don't get a quarterback right now, we're sunk. You're probably going to have 3 iterations or off seasons to evaluate and try to find your guy. In my opinion, that's how far off the roster is. And from what I see right now, I know there's some in Broncos country that I really respect that disagree with me. I probably go with the Vegas in that front. And a lot of the other general NFL analysts saying this team is pretty devoid of overall talent. And, if you get the quarterback, great, but this is your one shot. You're going to have multiple shots at a quarterback the next couple seasons.